Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Cruiserweight World Champion Jai Opetaia out in Saudi. How are you doing, Jai?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good to hear, good to hear. Now, we'll come on to matters this weekend on Matchroom versus Queensbury in a little bit, but we'll reflect first of all on 2 weeks ago now, there or thereabouts, getting the victory second time around over Mairis Briedis, 2-0, 2-0 against the Latvian. How are you feeling? Fully recovered after that one?
Yeah, man, feeling good. Happy to get the W. It was a good fight. I've learned a lot from the fight. I feel like it was a good 12 rounds. But yeah, man, I'm excited to get back in there. To be honest, it's made me more hungry.
How different was it this time around to what it was like the first time around? It certainly seemed from the outside looking in, there was a different mindset from the public looking on at what was expected of you.
Man, I don't know. It was weird. I was expecting a more aggressive sort of Briedis. I wasn't expecting him to be so hesitant and sort of. I don't know. Just I was expecting him to be more aggressive. But he sort of played the game and he done it well. I feel like I sort of underestimated his boxing ability. I thought he was just going to come out and really try and make it an ugly brawl. So, that's what I prepared for. But the way he was moving, he was boxing smart, and he still was such a great fighter. I've honestly learned a lot from the fight. Doing another 12 rounds with such a good fighter. So, it's all positive.
Do you think maybe he was a little wary in the early rounds after what happened in the first fight?
I don't know. Maybe he knows I'm getting stronger. I feel like he didn't want to get hit. He didn't want to engage. He wasn't really giving me much to work off for a lot of it. But I don't know. It was just a chess match. It was I sort of capitalized on my opponent's mistakes, and he wasn't really making too many of them. So it was I've watched it back a few times. I feel like I've learned a lot. So. Like I said, it's made me more excited, and I've seen a few things that I need to work on. So,
yeah, I think you said in the ring afterwards you were a little disappointed with your performance on the night. Is that still how you reflect on it after watching it back?
there's a part of me that's still disappointed with how the performance went, but it is what it is. We will learn a lot, and I feel like watching it back, when you watch fights back, it feels completely different to the way you're sort of in the ring. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But I still definitely think I can do a lot better.
Is it important to win fights in different ways? I guess again in your previous fights against Jordan Thompson and then out against Alex Zorro, it was sort of a one-way fight. You had a lot your own way, maybe not quite the same way against Braids. It was a bit more tactical. Is it important to be able to adapt to these different situations?
Definitely, I feel like that's what makes a great boxer. Is the way they can adapt in the ring and adapt to different styles. So, it was a great fight. I feel like a lot of people underestimating him as well. You know what I mean? Like they were expecting me to just blow him out of the water, and I think that sort of got in my head as well. But and he's still a great fighter, and he was fit. You know what I mean? Like to go those 12 rounds, and so many bits of movements, and I was trying to feint a lot out of him, but he really shows the experience.
Do you believe he's the second best fighter in the division at the moment, or?
I believe he beats everyone that has the belt currently.
Okay, we'll come on to that now then. A couple of weeks out here in the UK, we've got Chris Smith against Richard Riakporhe. I'm sure you'll have your eye fairly keenly on that. Another belt for you to go after at some point anyway. How do you see that fight going between those two? We know how the first one went.
I'm not sure. I'm expecting a good fight. I know those boys both want to win. They're in the sort of peak of their career. This is a massive fight for both of them. So, there should be a lot of heart shown in the fight. But whoever wins, that's I feel like that's my next move. You know, I want that WBO. I feel like it just makes sense. So yeah.
I know you've mentioned before about wanting that homecoming, but would there be a possibility of you coming back over to the UK to fight either of them, whoever's the winner?
Yeah. Well, there's a fight that they're talking about in September. So, you know, like sort of late September that was thrown around. So it could possibly be on that. But you know, we just got to see how it plans out.
Is that fully focused for you now, still on the cruiserweight division? I know there's been a lot of talk of moving up to heavyweight, outside talk maybe. Are you fully focused on the cruiserweight division? There's no thoughts of moving up yet?
Definitely, I still got a few boxes to tick as a cruiserweight. You know what I mean? And once I go up to heavyweight, I want to stay up there. I don't want to have to keep changing weight categories and coming down and up and stuff. So I want to do what I need to do as a cruiserweight, and then when I get there, I want to go to heavy.
Good stuff. On the heavyweight division, two big fights for the division this weekend out in Saudi. You'll obviously be ringside for them, starting with Daniel Dubois and Filip Hrgovic. Two very different fighters, I think you would have to say. How do you view that, and who do you think's got the keys to victory?
Man, that's an. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I haven't watched too much of both of them. You know, I don't, without being rude, like I don't sit at home and watch too much boxing. You know what I mean? I live boxing. I live it every day. So when I'm at home, I like to sort of switch off. So, but you know, I seen the bar last time I was here. He fought the baby. The that was a good fight. So I've seen him fight before. You know, that's an exciting fight. You know, I'll definitely be locked in for it for sure.
Daniel Dubois has been in the position for a world title before. He obviously lost that fight to Oleksandr Usyk out in Poland. How much do you think those experiences of fighting for a world title against who is now considered obviously the best heavyweight in the world will help him in this fight against Hrgovic?
Yeah, it helped him a lot. You know, being on those big stages, it's all progress. You know, and he's still young. You know, he's young for a heavyweight, so he's still got a lot of learning to do. And I feel like his best days are still ahead of him. So you know, it's good to see.
And right at the top of the card, we've got the return of Deontay Wilder. He's taking on Zhilei Zhang. I think many people, after the defeat that Wilder took to Joseph Parker, we didn't quite know how much he had left. How much do you think he's got left to give the sport?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He needs to get back to that bomb squad stuff. I feel like he's just got to. He just holds that such dangerous power, and he's just got to use it. You know, he's got to fucking throw those bombs and just. His boxing ability is not the best, to be honest. You know what I mean? But he just holds that massive upsetting power. So you know that'll be a good fight too. And even Zhang, he's not a bad fighter. He's just, you know, it's awesome to see Parker beat them both. You know, like massive fan of Parker. So
Yeah, with Deontay Wilder, do you think that power is still there? Do you think he still 100% holds that power that he did earlier in his career?
yeah, man, I don't think he's lost it. I think he's changing his boxing style a little bit, but yeah, I'm sure it's there. He's just yeah, we'll see.
You mentioned Joseph Parker. He's maybe been the slightly unlucky man in this. He's beaten both Wilder and Zhang, and they've got huge opportunity on this card. Meanwhile, Joseph Parker sort of waiting round for his opportunity. What do you see as the route to him? Definitely a world title is deserved.
For sure. Man, it's exciting to see his path now. You know, I feel like he's turned into a whole better version of himself these last couple of fights, and you know, his strength conditioning, his dieting. I was speaking to him earlier today, and just to see where his head's at, and you know, it's really good to see, and I feel like he's got a whole second wave of, you know, like he had it coming through the rankings, and then he sort of had a few losses, and now he's bounced back. So it's good to see, and you know, he's been involved with some exciting fights lately. So You know, I feel like there's a lot of heavyweight fights that are about to happen. So once they find out, you know, all the winners and losers, and then I feel like he'll get an opponent after that, all that sort of.
Final thing from me, we've now got a date for Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk 2, out December 21st, I believe the date is. You were obviously there for the first fight, though you probably didn't see it, so you went to hospital straight after the fight. What do you think Tyson Fury has to do differently to make sure it's a different result against Usyk?
Yeah, I think he's just got to be more active. You know, he's got to want to win and just go for it a bit more. You know, you can't sort of let him steal the rounds like he was. But you know, it was a good fight still. So, you know, and I'm hoping to be on the undercard of that as well. So that'll be good.
Do you think in the first fight that Tyson Fury respected the power of Oleksandr Usyk? That ninth round was a big turning point.
I don't think they, you know, disrespected it, but it's I wasn't expecting him to sort of, you know, hurt him like the way he did. I was expecting it to just be a full-on boxing match the whole time, a lot more punches to be thrown, but you know, it's a good fight. The heavyweight division and just boxing in general is just it's pumping at the moment, so it's good to be a part of.
We know you're in the camp for that first fight. Would you expect to be invited back and be back in that camp again for the rematch?
Yeah, man. What if they need me in there? Obviously, I'm gonna have to work with who I'll be fighting on that card as well. If I'm fighting on the same card, but if I'm not fighting on the same card, I'm happy to go in there and help out. You know, it's always a good experience to be around other world-class athletes.
Well, Jai, I really appreciate the time as always, and yeah, hope you get that date, and we'll see you out again soon, mate.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.